say that is because I feel like it's confessional time. Like I feel like I'm getting ready to share something that everyone's going to say, oh, did you know? Now, many years ago, my father used to ask me this one particular question. He would ask me it in a variety of ways. And it was many years later that I realized that the reason he was asking this was because of the 28 plus some years that he spent in jail. And he asked me, if no one knew that you were going to do something, what would you do? Like you could do whatever you want to do, and no one would ever find out. What would you do? You know, and the first time I remember hearing this, you know, I gave answers like, oh, I'd rob a bank. And, you know, I'd get all the money I could get, you know. I would go to in Pittsburgh, we have this store called Candy Rama, which always sold It's one of my favorite places on earth. It's not there anymore, but it was one of my favorite places on earth. And I remember answering, I would go to Candy Rama. And see, there's this upper shelf of chocolates and stuff that I couldn't afford. I would get them. Many years later, things started, like he would ask me the question, so many years later, the answers started to shift and the answers started to change. And eventually, I heard the entire story of how he ended up in jail. And then I understood, you're asking me this question for me to understand what kind of character I have. Gotcha. So then I really started to play with what does this thing called character mean? Because one of the things that we know is you can be a character and not have character. Right? So like you can be, because we all know that you know somebody that you would say, he is such a character. But you don't trust them with anything. We know this. But here's this thing called religious science. And there's this element of character that we are asked to step into that is a totally different level of character. Table that idea for a moment. Anybody in here watch television, film, or stage, like theater and stuff, right? So if I ask you, name your favorite actor who is really effective in transporting you to this whatever place this is, that you feel what they want you to feel. Name someone. Morgan Freeman, Meryl Streep. Give me one more. Holly Hunter. James Spader. Okay. Now if I ask you, what is it about these people that gives you the ability to be transported? So you're sitting at home on your sofa and you're watching this actress, portray a character so convincingly that you believe that it's 1812. You believe that it's another planet. You believe whatever it is they are portraying. What is it that they are doing that convinces you of that?
They're being it.
Okay, give me some more. That one. Where was that? Authentic. Because everything that you name, their voice, their body language, all of that stuff falls into this thing called authenticity. Their ability to connect with truth. Because we know actors, Tom Cruise, we know actors that no matter when we see them, did I say that out loud? I told you, confessional. This is just me. Whenever I see him, it's Tom Cruise as a samurai. It's Tom Cruise as a mummy hunter. It's like, I don't see any, it's him, right? Because there's this thing that's missing, this level of authenticity that I don't feel that he believes what he wants me to believe. Do you believe what you want you to believe? That you are the I am. Because if you do, and you are ready, willing, and able to step into that level of authenticity, then it means you are able to walk in a level of truth that is extremely different. Integrity. Integer. Integrate. What do these words have in common? One. All of them convey this element of oneness, wholeness, completeness. There is perfection in the one. Holy comes from the root of being whole. When we walk in integrity, integrity means to be holy. So are we walking in integrity? Are we speaking in integrity? Are we willing to open ourselves to this level of truth that calls us to embrace that capital V word that many of us seek to avoid? Anybody know it? Vulnerable. We see certain things about being open as being weak, as being scary, as being, but if people really knew. Many years ago when I was, my main thing was as an artist. Like I wanted to draw and paint and sculpt and photography, and that was my main thing. And I said, one of these days I'm going to be such a famous artist that Barbara Walters is going to, don't laugh at me, Barbara Walters is going to want to interview me. And VH1 is going to do a special about me. Don't laugh. What are you laughing about? Why is that so funny? And VH1 is going to do a special about me. But what I wanted was the special or the interview to not be able to tell people anything where it wasn't already known. Years ago, I talked to Tracy about this thing, and I would say, Tracy, in this household, in this family, we have no
secrets.
I don't like secrets. Things can be private. My pen, certain things can be private. But secrets are like having a splinter in the heel of your foot that, if left untreated, festers and becomes an infection that eventually becomes an amputation. Secrets cause us to cut parts of our lives off. When we are walking in integrity, there is no place for secrets. Because think about what I'm saying. If I have a secret life, I have secrets that I can't tell, there is something that I have to keep hidden from. That if I don't want you to know this part of me, because you may change how you view me. So I cannot be completely authentic if I have this Pandora's box of things that I have to keep locked up. So how do I get to this place of being comfortable with everything in my life to the degree that I don't care if you know? I don't care. Because as long as there's a secret, you have power over me. Somebody has power over you as long as you are clinging to this secret. Let us think of all of the times that we have heard of many LGBTQI teens killing themselves because someone told their secret. Or because their parent found out about the secret. And they couldn't, because we are in a culture where we encourage this thing called, you keep that to yourself. But to be in integrity means that we have to do the exact same thing these actors and actresses are doing. We have to, when I was in learning how to act, when I was learning theater in VCU or whatever, we heard all the time this thing of, what would your character do? How would your character respond to this? Not how would Ray respond. Because if someone slaps Ray, we know what's going to happen. But we want to know, this character is a 10-year-old boy who has magic, whatever. How would he respond? How would he answer the question? Same thing for you. When the news comes on and it's about whatever it's about, war and rumors of war, how does your character, who is the I am, how does that character, how does that integrity, how does that holiness respond? How does that holiness respond when someone asks a question of you that causes that place in here to start to gurgle and bubble? And I'm not talking about gas. I'm talking about that place in here that gurgles and bubbles that you want to keep quiet and silent because it hurts to bring that painful part of your life forward. And what I always talk to Tracy about, and other people who come to class on Friday night or whatever, people like Coach, whatever, is that that thing that hurts is a gift. It's a gift. Because it's letting us know that there's something in us that is crying for and calling for healing. Somewhere we're out of alignment. Somewhere we're out of integrity. Somewhere there is not the integration of oneness. And that's where that comes in. Oh, I'm angry at the president. Let me pray. It's easy to talk smack about folks. It's easy to whisper and gossip about people. Did you hear what Io said last Monday? It's easy for us to do these things. I can't believe that they actually went to the supermarket oh my goodness, they should be ashamed. It's easy to go down the road most traveled. It's easy. But is that what holiness does? Is that what holiness is calling us to do? So there's this guy you may know called Reverend Brian. That when I first heard about him, what I heard was, I don't even know what, that's what I heard. I heard that this is a man that is not to be trifled with. That this is a man who does not accept anyone's nonsense. That he has a clear line that if you cross that line, he will call you on it. And then I met the man and found out it was true. Because as I was working through this process of becoming a licensed CSL minister, and Reverend Brian volunteered to assist me in the process, and he would be my mentor minister to help me get through, Reverend Brian was quick to say, "Did you call them yet? Call him now." And somewhere back here, somewhere in that gurgly place that I talked about, it said, "You better call, because if he calls you back and you didn't call, oh, it's him." You knew that it would be him. And many of you know that I'm speaking the truth, correct?
Yes.
You know, can I get an amen? You know that there is a level of integrity that he's calling this community into. A level of awareness that he's calling each and every one of us into. And that when we are not demonstrating our best in thought, word, or deed, he's going to call us on it. Correct?
Correct.
But are we doing that for ourselves? When we are alone in the dark, when we are at home, in the supermarket, in our car, all by ourselves, are we walking the walk? Are we standing in integrity? Are we standing in this place of, I get to demonstrate who and what I am, as the I am? It's a completely different thing. See, it's easy for us to talk about God being in us. Like, that's easy. Because part of that is still from the stuff, right? But when we talk in New Thought that God is not just in, because if God is, we believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one, absolute, one. It's everything and everywhere. It is this podium, this shirt, the chair, these shoes, each and every one of us in the flesh, because we oftentimes refer to our flesh as something else. My humanness, or my human self, or my human mind. And I understand for linguistic convenience we do this. But is there anything other than God? Other than source, other than spirit, other than the universal power and presence that we identify in this teaching? There is nothing other than it. That means this body has to be it. This mind that I'm using within this mushy walnut-looking thing inside my cranium is still of and made, don't laugh at me, I understand. It's still made of and with this thing called spirit, because that's all there is. Emma Curtis Hopkins was great for reminding people spirit is all that matter doesn't exist. Not as this separate stuff like this is spirit, this is matter. They are not two separate entities. Matter is made of spirit. That means, and spirit is all there is, that means everything that you can see and everything that you can't see is God. Everything that you hear and everything that you can't hear is spirit. Everything that you can touch and can't touch is the universe showing up. All of it. And the seen, the not seen, and the not yet seen. The heard, the unheard, and the not yet heard. Because it's this, the not yet, that shows the infinity of what we are. And standing in integrity means that you are willing to acknowledge yourself as divine. Acknowledge yourself as holy. When Yeshua said, if you have seen me, then you have seen that which has sent me. The Father and I are one. It is no different for any one of us. There's this movie that some of you may be young enough to remember. Where, and I'm not going to tell you the movie, I'm going to let you tell me the movie. I'm going to give you a line and you tell me where it came from. Do you swear to tell the whole truth? And nothing but the truth. So help me me. So help me you. You know what that's from? Oh God, George Burns. Are you willing to tell the truth? And nothing but the truth. So help you as God, as the divine, as that which is all there is. Are you willing to tell the truth? Tell the truth about who you are. You know, when I was a regular Christian folk, we used to talk about this. Tell the truth and shame the devil. And I understand the concept, but check this out. It still works for us because, metaphysically speaking, the devil, Satan, Lucifer, is what we would call the father of all lies. Any lie that we would tell ourselves and believe, in essence, we are devil worshiping. The concept that we are believing the lie, we are believing the illusion, we are believing this thing that is not truth. We are then taking that whole number and breaking it into a fraction, believing that these are separate powers, and they're not. So the moment we say, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not something enough, I'm not holy enough, it's a lie. And the question is, what are we willing to do to convince ourselves of the truth of our being? For years, I've been teaching martial arts. And one of my former Kung Fu students, who is a musical artist in Pittsburgh, he posted something on Facebook yesterday referencing this idea of, I do my best. I am doing my best to be a good man, to be kind, to be gentle, to do this stuff, and I can't get ahead. But you watch these other people who lie and cheat and steal and abuse, and they are successful beyond imagination. Why should I bother? And he wasn't really posing the question as, why should I bother? But he was marinating on the question of, why should I bother? And it's the same thing for us, because we do the same thing. We question things within our lives, and we wonder, why? Why am I doing this? Why do I? How many times? Well, I know that eating this chocolate cake is going to. Why am I still eating the chocolate cake? Why am I still dating the same person? It's not the same person, but it's the same soul in a different body. It's the same person. Why do I keep repeating the pattern of being separate, being anything less than whole, being anything less than perfect, being anything less than complete? Why am I repeating that? Because as we've already spoken about, on some level, it means we believe it. On some level, we believe that that is the character, that is the script that we must follow, that is what we must go through to say, oh, Ray, 51 years old. Okay, so what does he do? Oh, okay, fine. And then we do it because I'm not sharing this. And then we do it. But why? We come here and we sing and we meditate and we gather together, and here it is easy because there are so many people of like mind, so much energy of love and acceptance here. But when we walk out of these doors and get in the cars and go back out there, we have this challenge of being in the world and of the world, rather than being in it but not of it. Meaning, go into the world where people have this scarcity consciousness, and let your consciousness be so powerful that it shifts and changes theirs. It takes only one idea. Is there anyone in here, you don't have to share what it was, but is there anyone in here who has ever made up your mind, Now is the time to lose weight. Now is the time to take a class. Now is the time for me to get a new job. Now is the time for something. Now is the time for me to let go of this addiction. Now is the time for, and it's been years and years and years and years and years, and here is the day, and finally we say, enough is enough. Anyone in here? That one thought in that one moment was enough. You could have done any of that years ago. But it wasn't yours to do in that moment. This moment, right here, is the only moment there is. And many of us are making our decisions of this moment based upon the aroma of yesterday. So when something yesterday stinks, we carry the stench of that into today. It's like we save it in a little Ziploc baggie. We're like, everything seems to be going so well. Now it's not. Like we have to remind ourselves of how funky life is. But it's only because we are carrying it with us. We're saving it. This baggie, 1978. Oh, this was a good year. I can't share this one. Like we carry all of these memories in the exact same way. And we wait for the right perfect time. As soon as inspiration kicks in and says, you are God, you are divine, you are holy, you are the I am, you are one, you are complete, whole, and perfect. No, I'm not. Because it's too much. It's too much bigness. Too much goodness. And so we have to degrade ourselves. Little tiny comments, little tiny paradigms, little tiny beliefs that chip away at the foundation of who and what we are. But let this be a reminder that everything we choose to do, is right in this moment. No other moment exists. Do you want to be divine right now? Do you want to be holy right now? Do you want to walk in integrity right now? I don't care what you did. I don't care what mom did. I don't care what dad did. See, remember I mentioned that my father was in jail? So he was in jail and he served what they referred to as a life sentence. And I don't remember if it was 25 and a half or 28 and a half. And they let him out for good behavior. Now, the reason he went to jail was because he killed somebody. By accident, but nonetheless, he killed somebody because he was trying to rob them. Because the girlfriend at the time, not my mother, the girlfriend at the time convinced him she wanted money so they could do something. Go hit the next person who walks down the street, knock them down, take their money, and we can go party. And he said, okay. Next person who came down, he jumped out, tried to grab, but he ended up pushing. The man fell, hit his head, cracked open, and he died. And my father got locked up for 20, almost 30 years. He gets out, he meets my mom, they knew each other as kids, they rekindle. Voila. Or as Tracy would say, voila. So, he was really big into jail did not make me. I made jail. And I didn't understand what that meant. And he said, things would happen. The things that I have seen, the things that I experienced while in jail, I refused to let them make me who I was going to be. They're going to do whatever. I'm going to the library. And he said he read every book the library had 2 or 3 times to keep his mind focused. They had a band, and I don't know anything about music. He said, I don't care, I don't know anything about music. I'm going to learn how to play everything that they offer to the best of my ability. And that's what he did. They had a variety of sports. And he said, I'm going to play everything they offer, from ping pong to handball, football. If they have hockey, I'm playing hockey. Black people don't skate, but I'm playing hockey. These are his words, not mine. That's what he told me. Because I skate, so the devil is a liar. Anyhow. But his point was, all of these things happened. I chose. And he was telling me this because there were times in my life when I would complain, I can't go to the movies because nobody wants to go to the movies with me. Go by yourself then. If it's what you want to do it. Stop letting other people and other circumstances and other situations determine or dictate who and what you are. Light bulb came on. So here we are today. And there are things, and there are histories, and there are memories, and things that want to make you feel anything but whole. Anything but holy. Let me ask you a question. Practitioners, put them here. Ministers, put them here. Do you hold these people to a higher expectation of thought, word, deed, behavior, etc.? Do you hold them to a separate or higher standard? Yes or no? Raise your hand if you do. Okay. Those who are like, well, not sure why, but that's fine. The idea is, yes, we should hold, because they are stepping into a completely different level of authenticity. Meaning they have been trained to walk the walk. And so we expect that of them. But if we expect them to not make mistakes, because trust and believe, we are human. There are things that I do that I kick myself for because I'm wondering, why? Why are you still doing that? Why are you still believing that? And I remind myself, it's a process. Jesus had to be in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. I can give myself a little bit of grace and be okay. Give yourself permission to be where you are. And understand that these people are, in essence, no different than you. They are just as holy. They are just as divine as each and every one of us. The question is, are you ready and willing to step into that? So one of the things that I told Chris when he told me about the why do I do, I remember one of my philosophy teachers way back when I was a student at Carlo saying this to us. People are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered. Love them anyway. If you do good, people will accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Do good anyway. The good you do today will be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. And the list goes on. The Paradoxical Commandments by Dr. Kent M. Keith. No matter what's going on in the world, no matter what is happening, we get to choose to be sacred anyway, to be whole anyway, to be the I am anyway. If we are willing to stand in that character, to move as that character, to have that level of vulnerability and openness where I am authentic and transparent. What you see is what you get. There is nothing to hide, nothing for me to be ashamed of, because it's all God and it's all good. Let's treat. Simply surrendering in this moment to the breath. Allowing ourselves to breathe and to step into the awareness that it is not we who are breathing ourselves, but that it is the one breathing itself as us. And so what I know in this breath is that God is. In this breath, the divine, that one mind, that thing itself, the divine universe, power and presence, good. As Emma Curtis Hopkins said, my good is my God and my God is my good. And in this breath is that good. And so in this breath, I speak this word knowing that the illusion of sin, sickness, and death are simply that, an illusion. They are an experience, but they are not the truth of who and what we are. And so in this breath, we allow the perfection, the wholeness, and the truth of our being to well up in us, to fill our minds, our hearts, and our spirit, to cast light on any corners of darkness in our mind, in our lives, in our experiences, bringing love and light to any areas that hurt. Knowing that in this moment is eternity. In this moment is forever. In this moment, love is. In this moment, the beauty of creation is the truth of who and what we are. And so in gratitude, I release this word knowing that the words came from God through this body, through this mouth, through this vibration, which is the very same power, the I am, speaking through itself, about itself, back into the law from whence it came. Therefore, it must already be done. It must already be so, and so it is.
And so it is.